What's up everyone, I am TheGamingRaptor and welcome back to another For Honor video. In today's video, I will be doing a guide on the Zhanhu to help you understand and get better with Zhanhu in For Honor of 2024. So if this video does help you, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. But let's get straight into it. Alright, the first thing that I want to go over with Zhanhu are the light finishers for Zhanhu. Now, with Zhanhu, he has a lot of great, and I mean great, moves within his kit. Noticeably, his unblockable lights that are finishers within the chain combos. You can press the light after any kind of dodge heavy or dodge light, or after a heavy or a light, really. So if I were to do a dodge light like so, I can go for an unblockable light, or a heavy, I can go for the light again, or light, I can go for light. It's really cool that Zhanhu has this within his kit. Now, granted, you want to be careful when throwing this unblockable light out, as people will try to read it. So just be careful when throwing it out. And also, the light damage for this is 16. It is on all sides. So on all sides, you can throw this out on all sides, and it'll still be 16 damage. And the speed for it is 566, which that's the MS, like the speed is like 566 milliseconds, and the cost to stand for it is 9 stamina for the cost. And I'll go over a little bit of the heavies, not too much, but the heavy finishers themselves are 28 on all sides. It's 28 on all sides, and it costs 12 stamina. Okay, the next set of moves we're going to be going over are the forward dodge attacks. So the first one we have is Stinging Maneuver, which is a forward plus light attack. So Stinging Maneuver itself, it does 12 damage and it only costs 9 stamina and is 500 milliseconds. The second attack that we have is Torturing Maneuver. This here is the forward dodge plus heavy, which does around 24 damage and has a speed of 700, and it only costs 12 stamina. And this last one is Subduing Blow. This one's forward plus GB, basically the bash. In my opinion, is very good, as the bash does open you up for a light right after, and you can continue it right after the light to anything you want, going for another light, or maybe fainting the heavy. You can really do whatever you want right after. Now, this move does around 10 stamina damage, and it has a speed of 433 for most bash attacks, and the stamina cost for it is 15, so you want to just make sure, you just want to take that in, that it does cost 15 stamina, so don't try to spam it too much, as you will lose that stamina very fast if you try to spam it a lot. But again, it's a really good opener for stringing your attacks together. And the next set of moves that Xhanhu has are the side dodge attacks, both light and heavy side dodge attacks that Xhanhu has within the kit. So the first one is called Violent Maneuver, which is the side dodge plus light attack here, which does around 9 damage and is 400 milliseconds, and it only costs 9 stamina. His second one is called Brisk Maneuver. This is basically the side dodge plus heavy, so it does around 9 damage as well, and it has a speed of 400, and it only costs 9 stamina. I highly suggest that you do not spam these side dodge attacks. Other players will try to bait for either of these side dodge attacks and parry it to get a free heavy. Use them wisely within your chains, so just really use it at a good time when you feel like you want to throw it out, then just throw it out, but don't try to spam it too much. That's just my advice to you guys. Alright guys, so the next thing we're going to go over is Zhanhu's riposts. Now, these are mainly the counters that Zhanhu has, and I will do my best to explain them to you guys to help you understand them a bit more on how they work. So here we go. Okay, so for Zhanhu's first riposte is his forward superior block light, basically Stinging Maneuver counter for short. It does around 22 damage, and its speed is 500 milliseconds, and it costs 9 stamina. And you want to move into the top direction for it to work. His second repulse is a forward superior block plus heavy, basically Torturing Maneuver counter, and it's the top direction, same as the light, and it does around 24 damage and is 700 milliseconds, and it only costs 12 stamina. His third repulse is a side superior block dodge plus light, which is Violent Maneuver counter. This repulse does 22 damage and is 400 milliseconds, and it costs 9 stamina and is in the side direction. And his fourth repulse is another side dodge block plus heavy, which is Brisk Maneuver counter. This repulse does 22 damage and is 400 ms and also costs 9 stamina as well. Now that's mainly all the counters. Now the way you would want to do this is by looking at the opponent. Now you see my opponent's guard right there, basically the Warden's guard. Now whenever the Warden throws a heavy at me, I need to move into the direction of the attack that comes at me. Whenever it comes at me, I press the heavy and I get that counter right there. That's pretty much how you would do it. Now, it may take a few tries just to get down, but you'll definitely get it once you start just practicing it. But like I said, all you gotta do is just move into your opponent's attack. When they throw their attack right at you, you move into it and you go for the move right after. Any move will work, any light, heavy, any side heavy, any side light. It really depends. The next move we're going to go over for Zhanhu is the zone. Now the zone itself, it does around 14 damage. It has a speed of 600 and it has a stamina drain of 35. Honestly, I would be careful when using the zone, as players often watch for the zone by either deflecting it or parrying it. I would say to use it when your opponent is low and catch them off guard with the zone if you can, that is. And if you want to use it within your mix-ups as well, which I sometimes do as well, you can definitely do that. You just got to be careful when people try to like parry it. It stings a little bit when people parry that zone. It really does, because people will just understand like you're going for the zone once they see that startup animation there for Zhanhu's. It is crazy, honestly. All right, the last move I'm going to go over is Zhanhu's running attack, which is running attack. It's mainly on the right side and it does 20 damage and it only costs 12 stamina. It's really good for continuing your chain right after. If you want to go for an unblockable heavy, you can. I would mostly use this for 4v4s. I wouldn't do it for ones. I mean, ones, it's eh, but you can make do if you want to. And also, one more thing that I did forget is that with Zhanhu, in mid animation, you can press the guard break button and you can get a feint, or you can feint it into a guard break. So like in the middle of like this unblockable animation, you can feint it straight into a guard break by pressing the guard break button. That's all you gotta know. That's one thing I forgot to tell y'all. But yeah, that's gonna be pretty much it for Zhanhu's moves. Now I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys some combos that I know with the Zhanhu. Here we go. Alright, so like I always said, for anyone that has an unblockable, always let the unblockable fly first to see if your opponent either parries it or not. Okay, so this first one, I like to go with the bash a bit. So I'll go with the bash, go with the light, feint into the heavy, and go for unblockable light if I can. Alright, this one I like to do backstep light, into the heavy, side dodge light, feint the heavy again, into the heavy, into a light. Alright, so this next one here, I have to go for front light, feinting it, go for the light, go for the bash right after, and go for another heavy into a guard break, and then into another heavy. So yeah, this one I'll sometimes use it to mix my zone in if my opponent's low. So I like to go for backstep, go for zone, feinting it into a guard break, and going for a heavy. That one I just really used the zone. I mean, it's not that big of damage. I mean, I only use it for the zone if my opponent is low. Now this one, I like to go for backstep heavy, into another heavy, into a bash, feinting it, into another heavy, top light. Okay, this one could be a little bash spammy, so it's mainly like this. So I like to go for light, feint into the bash, feint again into the bash, and go for another light. It's a little bash spammy. This is just a little mini combo, not too much. Just a little one to get poking and damage and whatnot. If I want to use the side dodges, I'll use this here. So go for light, feinting it into a side dodge heavy, going for a bash, feinting it again into another side dodge heavy. So for this one, I like to start off with the side dodge light. Okay, this next combo, I go for side dodge light, feinting it into another light, going for another side dodge light, and that's pretty much it. Mainly the side dodge lights, I like to use them as poking mechanics. That's mainly why I use the side dodge lights, just to poke my opponent, see what they do. Okay, so this last one, it's using the front dodge heavy. Now you don't have to use it too much. I mean, I don't use it too much. I only use it sometimes. So I like to go for light, feinting it into front dodge heavy, letting that fly, going for a bash, and then going for a light right after to finish it up. Okay, so that's going to be it for Zhanhu's combos. Now these are combos that I'll sometimes use. Sometimes I will, sometimes I won't. You can always come up with your own combos and mix-ups by just practicing with Zhanhu and just labbing it up. That's pretty much what I call it, man. Just lab it up, try out what you want to try out, see which moves you want to go with, and just have at it with Xhanhu. So now that we went over the combos for Xhanhu, let's go ahead and get straight into the feats and gear perks of the Xhanhu. Let's do it. Alright guys, so I'm going to be going over the feats and the gear perks. So if you want all the information for the feats and the gear perks and for Xhanhu really, I'll have the link to the information hub in my description. That way you guys can look at all the information you need to come up with the best gear perks or feats really. But yeah, here we go. For the first one, we got Fiery Tusk. You throw a projectile dealing low damage. If the target was already burning, it explodes for additional damage. The second one for tier 1 is Fast Recovery. This is a passive. Stamina regenerates faster. The third one is Bounty Hunter. This is another passive. You gain health and stamina when killing another hero. Then for tier 2, the first one we have Tulin Ruse. Set a gunpowder trap that explodes and burns targets within its radius. Then for the second one we got Thick Skin. It's a passive. Gain moderate damage reduction every 3 seconds. Then for the third one we got Winner's Advantage. It's passive. You gain a temporary attack buff after a successful attack. Then for tier 3, the first one we have Fiery Breath. It's a passive. All your attacks and feats deal more damage against burning target. And then for the second one we got Longbow. You fire a longbow for moderate damage. And for the third one for tier 3, this here is a passive. You gain stamina on successful hits. And for tier 4, for the first one we got Scorching Deluge. Launching an attack that scorches the ground and sets fire to enemies around you if they're outdoors. For tier 2 we got Regenerate. This is a passive. Regenerate your health when out of combat. And for the last one we got Last Laugh. This here is a passive. Drop a high damage grenade upon death unless executed. Alright, so here we go for the gear perks for Zhanhu. So for the first one we have Shields Up. When revived, receive a temporary plus 25 health shield. For the second one we got Aegis. All shields received are increased by 20%. And then for the third one we got Devourer. Upon execution, heal an additional plus 10 health. And for the fourth one we got Endurance. When gaining a renown level, receive 3% stamina cost reduction. Max gain is 4. And then for the fifth one we got Survival Instinct. When in critical health, gain 25% stamina cost reduction. And for the sixth one we got Headhunter. For each unique player / bot hero executed, increase max health by plus 4. And then for the last one, this one's Fresh Focus. When out of stamina, counter, guard breaks, blocks, and parries regenerate 20% stamina. Again, if you want all the information for the feats and the gear perks, the information hub will be in my description below. Yep.
You lost Zone A. Ad profundis. Ad profundis.
Oh, poor pirate. That pirate dog.
Ah,
This sucks.
capture Zone A.
Hey.
Your team is breaking. In order.
I'm not sure. I wouldn't mind it. There we go. Gotcha. Got him. That is going to do it for today's video, guys. I hope this video did help you understand a bit more with Zhanhu and For Honor. I know that Zhanhu and For Honor right now, they're still pretty good. They're pretty good in fours, in my opinion. Ones, they kind of lack a little bit in ones, but I feel like Zhanhu's pretty solid where they're at. I don't think Zhanhu needs any buffs or nerfs or whatnot. I think they're pretty fine. They're pretty good, and I like their counters. The counters are just godly. All right, brother, they're godly. They're really good. I enjoy them, but I want to know what you guys think about Zhanhu in the comments down below. Do you like Zhanhu? Do you not like Zhanhu? Let me know in the comments down below. Yeah, with that being said, guys, I am the Gamer Raptor. Consider subscribing if you enjoyed this video. Like the video if you really enjoyed it, and comment again down below what you think about Zhanhu, and I will see you guys in the next video. All right, guys, peace out.